Lesson 13.2, Addition and Subtraction Inequalities, is going to be solved pretty much the same way that you solve algebraic expressions and algebraic equations when you were trying to figure out what the letter was. And this is going to be pretty much the same thing. The only difference is that instead of an equal sign, there's a less than sign or less than equal to sign. So let's look at the Explore activity. Go ahead and set up your Cornell notes. I've noticed that students are not writing titles down on their Cornell notes. Please do that. I have it typed up here, 13.2 Addition and Subtraction Inequalities. And then we can just move that out of the way, and let's look at our real life story problem. On a day in January, right here, in Watertown, New York, the temperature was 5 degrees Fahrenheit at dawn. Now remember, dawn is when the sun is coming up, when it's early morning. This is a picture of what it looks like at dawn. And it was 5 degrees Fahrenheit. You guys probably, not many of you have experienced that kind of cold before. By noon, it was at least 8 degrees. Now that is a confusing statement, at least. What this is saying is that the least it was is 8, but it probably or could have been more than that. So it was 8 degrees or higher if 8 is the least. By how many degrees did the temperature increase? A says let x represent the increase in temperature. Write an inequality. So the temperature at dawn was 5, and the increase, we don't know what it was. But after you added it to the 5, that number was greater than or equal to 8. Remember we said it's 8 degrees or higher? That's what greater means. It's warmer. 5 plus x is going to be greater than or equal to 8. The model shows 5 plus x being greater than or equal to 8. So how many tiles must you remove from each side to isolate x on one side of the inequality? Isolate means to get it all by itself. So if we have x here and we want to find out what that equals, we have to get rid of these. So we're going to knock out 5, which means you have to keep it balanced by knocking out 5 over here. And now all we have left is x is greater than or equal to, and then what do we have over here? 3. So it rose at least 3 degrees. 3 degrees, maybe more. Okay, now let's look at C. What values of x make this inequality true? Graph the solution of the inequality on the number line. So I'm going to graph all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 3. So I put my, remember we're going to close the circle because it could be 3. And then numbers that are greater are going to go this way. They didn't give us very much space to do that. Okay. In your notes, you're going to work these two problems with me, and then we're going to graph them, or I'm going to graph them for you on the number line. So A says x plus 5 is less than negative 12. You solve this the same way as if there was an equal sign. We want the x to be by itself, so we're going to use the opposite of addition, which is subtraction, to get rid of that 5. And remember, we have to keep it balanced, so subtract 5 on this side. Now we have x by itself is less than, and then negative 12 minus 5. If you do keep, flip, flip, it's negative 12. You keep that. Flip the subtraction to add, and flip the positive 5 to negative 5. And so you have negative 12 and negative 5. You have 12 negatives and 5 negatives. That gives you 17 negatives. Or if you are at negative 12 on the number line and you go back 5, like you get smaller 5, you end up at negative 17. Okay, let's look at the number line for graphing this. X is less than negative 17. So, oh, they already have it. I'm going to zoom in real quick, and you can see that this is an open circle. Let me do it in red right here. Why did they open up that circle? What does that tell you? It tells you that 17, negative 17, is not going to be part of that solution. If it said less than or equal to negative 17, then negative 17 could be a number as a solution. But it's not. It has to be I can't delete that. Here, I'll do this. Make that a big less than sign. Because your answer has to be less than negative 17 and not equal to negative 17, we don't include negative 17, and that's why we have the circle that is open. Looking at B, which is right here, it says 8 is less than or equal to y minus 3. Remember, what we want to do is get y all by itself, so we're going to move this 3 over to the other side. Remember, you have to do the opposite, so this is y minus 3. You're going to add 3 to here and here. Make sure you're copying this down just like I have it. So these two cancel out, and you're just left with y. This just comes straight down, less than or equal to, and then 8 plus 3 is 11. So 11 is your solution. 11 is less than or equal to y. So let's answer this question right here. What would it tell you if the inequality is false when you check the solution? Okay, let's just take out the y. Write this down. 8 is less than or equal to. Instead of writing y, let's write this solution. 11 minus 3. Okay? So 8 is less than or equal to, and then what is 11 minus 3? It's 8. And that meets this constraint right here. Equal. 8 is equal to 8. Let's choose a number that is bigger. Let's take out 8, or let's make 8 is less than or equal to, and then let's try 14. 14 minus 3. Okay, I took out y and I put in 14. Okay, now let's solve it. 8 is less than or equal to, and then 14 minus 3 is 11. Is that true? It is. Now let's pick a number that's less than 11. 8, I'm going to write it over here. 8 is less than or equal to, let's say, 4 minus 3. Okay, go ahead and solve it. 8 is less than or equal to, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. Is that true? No, 8's not equal to 1, and 8's not less than 1. So that's what happens when you check an inequality. If it's not true, then your solution is wrong. I want you to copy this problem in your notes. Y minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 7. So let's find out what y needs to be to make that true. Remember, we want to get y by itself, so we're going to add 5 to this side to get rid of that. And then what you do to one side, you do to the other to keep it balanced. Okay? And we're left with y here because the 5's cancel out. Y is greater than or equal to, and then negative 7 plus 5 is what you're doing. You have more negatives, so your answer is negative. How many more negatives do you have? You have 2. We had to subtract that. So your answer, your numbers are going to have to be greater than or equal to -2. Okay, remember when it's greater than or equal to, you fill in the circle, and then the numbers that are greater than -2 would go this way. Okay, let's look at number 3. Copy down number 3. This x is actually supposed to be here. Okay, so when you write that problem, the x will be up here. 21 is greater than 12 plus x. We want to get x by itself, so let's get rid of the 12 by doing the opposite of what it is. It's a positive 12, so we subtract 12. And then subtract 12 on the other side to keep it balanced. Okay, over here we cancel those out. 12 minus 12 is 0, so that all we're left with is x. Just drop that down. And then 21 minus 12 is 9. So 9 is greater than x. So we're looking for numbers that, if you want to flip it, your numbers need to be smaller than 9. Because 9 is going to be bigger than the numbers that you replace x with. X is less than 9, so let's graph the numbers that are less than 9. Do we include 9? No. We don't. Only the numbers that are less than 9. So it's going to go that way. Let's just read this real-world problem. They're asking us to come up with one and solve it. Let's just read it. 60 is greater than or equal to w plus 5. Okay, so it says examine each part of the inequality. W is the unknown. Remember your variables, they might be one number in one problem and something else in another problem. And then it says 5 is added to w, whatever w is. And then it says 60 is greater than or equal to a number added to 5. Write a comparison that the inequality could describe. So here they go. This is the comparison they came up with. June's dog will travel to a dog show in a pet carrier. The pet carrier weighs 5 pounds. Okay, that's your constant right there. Remember we talked about constants or numbers that are not stuck to variables. They're all by themselves. They're constants. So the pet carrier, the weight of the pet carrier is not going to change. It's always going to be 5 pounds. The total weight of the pet carrier and the dog must be no more than 60 pounds. What inequality describes the weight of June's dog? So that means that the weight of the pet carrier and the dog has to be less than or equal to 60. Okay, if you need to flip this around to understand it better, just make sure that you flip around the inequality. Okay, it can equal 60 or it can be less than 60. And this is the work that they did. They're showing that to you. They had w plus 5, and then they're subtracting 5 from both sides because they want to get the w by itself. So that canceled out, and 60 minus 5 is 55. 55 is the weight. I'm going to flip it around. The weight is less than or equal to 55. Okay, so June's dog currently weighs less than 55 pounds or equal to 55 pounds, either one, because that's what the less than or equal to sign tells you.